Welcome in, along with Eric Eager. I'm Steve Palazzolo. Today discussing Oklahoma and Ohio State and who deserves to be a part of the college football playoff conversation. It's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. All right, let's get into it, Eric, because still have some more things to happen. We have an SEC championship. We have other championship games this weekend. But the big debate coming out of Ohio State's win against Michigan, do they actually deserve a playoff spot now? And then Oklahoma, they win the Big 12 Classic against West Virginia last week. They still have a Big 12 championship game to win. But let's just size up both of these teams. Oklahoma, Ohio State, what are the numbers pushing towards at this point?
Yeah, I think we have to assume Georgia loses to Alabama for this to be a part of the conversation for number 4 here. But let's assume that happens. Oklahoma plays Texas. We would put them at about a 70% chance to win that game. Ohio State roughly an 83.3% chance to beat Northwestern in the Big Ten title game. So assuming both of those occur, the question becomes which one of these teams is more worthy. And even though Oklahoma this year does have a loss, we, in the terms of our PFF grades, had them actually winning that game against Texas. Whereas with Ohio State, they are also a one-loss team. We actually had them losing to Penn State in that close game, at State College.
So just as far as how well they've played.
As far as how well they've played. So for us, from a ratings perspective, we would have Oklahoma well above Ohio State at this point. So from our perspective, it really isn't a question here. Who should make it? Should Georgia lose to Alabama?
Well, the reason why it is a question is because on the surface, you have a one-loss Oklahoma, one-loss Ohio State. You have an explosive offense at Oklahoma, explosive offense at Ohio State, and you have questionable defenses. You have Oklahoma, who has given up over 40 points multiple times, just gave up over 50 to West Virginia. But you have Ohio State's defense, which is probably the worst that they've fielded in a number of years. Of course, they got thrashed by Purdue. We talked about Penn State scoring a lot. Maryland, Nebraska, a lot of teams putting up a lot of points on Ohio State. Even Michigan last week scored over 30. Even though Ohio State won the game pretty handily. So how do you size it up from just a simple, they're two one-loss teams with great offenses and not so good defenses?
Yeah, I think the most important thing in football is being able to pass on offense. And Oklahoma and Ohio State have both been tremendous there. Both are leading their conference in early down passing success. However, it's just an order of magnitude different for Oklahoma. They're almost generating a half of an expected point every time they drop back to pass on early downs. Ohio State's more like 0.3. So you're getting a lot more points with Oklahoma. We know that the conferences are a little bit different, but both of those defenses, are sort of in the lower third of their respective conferences. So I think they're both even. But if you just look at it from a pure production standpoint, the grades would bear this out with Kyler Murray as well. Oklahoma is simply more explosive, and I think probably could compete should they make it into the playoff more easily than Ohio State.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray's grade, 96.3, best in the nation so far this year. Dwayne Haskins has played well, but he's had a couple poor games in there where Kyler Murray, his only game, almost every one of his games has been above 90 in our scale, which is really incredible for a game-by-game breakdown. But one okay game against UCLA, and that was it. And Kyler Murray, as much as we do talk about the pass game, QB running is also extremely valuable. He's the #1 graded rusher in the entire nation among quarterbacks. So Oklahoma, Ohio State, on the surface, seem like very similar teams, but we still have Oklahoma's offense as a tick above. Is that essentially where we're going with it?
Yeah, I think when you look at these two teams, you want to ask the question, who would have a better chance of competing should they get in the college football playoff? I think Ohio State's had a good team. They've had a decent season, very impressive last week against Michigan. But in terms of being able to compete with the Alabamas and the Clemsons of the world, the Notre Dames, for example, I think Oklahoma's offense is going to give them a shot because they can give them a shot against anybody, and the defense sort of notwithstanding there.
Couple bad defenses, but the offenses can carry the day. We're going with Oklahoma over Ohio State. At this point, we'll see. Maybe Ohio State wins another 77-0 Big Ten game this weekend to change your mind. That'll do it for us. We're taking Oklahoma. It's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. Don't forget to get to your local grocery store for this weekend's tailgate or homegate party, and visit EckrichFootball.com for great game day recipes and to enter their season-long $1 Million Challenge.